Heaven knows just what you need. Let all good things rain down on every planet seed. Soleah transformation, that's me.
Hi, and welcome to Soleah Transformation. I am Soleah T. Rayne, your partner in transformation. Today we're talking about manifesting, and I have a question for you. What does it mean to manifest? Many people think manifesting is about pulling something out of thin air, but it really is about exposing what's already there. Actually, what's been there all along. The fact that one gets the idea to bring something to the surface is the evidence that it already existed. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Be it unto you according to your faith. We've heard these scriptures so often throughout life if you've been around Christianity and so forth. But do we truly know what it's saying? Do we truly know why faith is the actual substance? Because when our imagination takes us to an idea, it's not that we're conjuring something up. It's because our awareness has brought us to that thing. And we are observing something that's just about to peak from the depths of the darkness. Many of us can and do possess these insights, these abilities to see. There are seers among us. And a lot of times we find that people are spooky. They're spooked out over what others can see, what others can know. Oh, you are a shaman. Oh, you are a priest. Oh, you are a prophet. They're labeling people because they're expressing themselves naturally. The thing is, everyone has this capability. You have the capability to be a seer and to prophesy, actually. And all that is doing is showing that you've observed, that your level of awareness is awakened. Because to manifest is simply to acknowledge what is and what is to come. When we look at the number one and the medicine that it wields, we see a concentration of power, intention, and will. This is the stage where the magician can wave a wand at the precise moment the seed begins to sprout from beneath the dirt it had been planted in. The magic is truly in observation. So we can go so spiritual and say that we have sages among us, seers and shamans and so forth. And then we can go to the metaphysical and the magical world. People call others witches, warlocks, magicians, and all these types of people. And then they elicit fear. And I just really want to laugh about it because it's a conditioning, it's a programming against your natural state of being. If you allow that which is in you to be cultivated. And I wonder, when we think about how much of our brain power we actually use, I wonder if it's because we've been programmed to dumb ourselves down and to stifle our growth in this way. Because if we totally, truly, intentionally understand what manifesting is, more of us would be doing it. More of us would be able to walk amongst others and call a spade and just name what we see, name what we've observed and what we're aware of. And I feel that this is what being awakened is. If you aren't truly awakened, you can't see. You're blind. So it's time to begin to awaken transformers. To be a true transformer, you have to be awakened. Because how can you allow others to transform in your presence or aid in the transformation if you can't even see what's happening? If something gets twisted or caught up and you can help smooth it out or straighten it out for the other person. But if you're there just in the way, you might end up being the reason why something won't get straightened out or smoothed out. Either we can help ourselves or we're harming ourselves. Either we're helping others or we're harming others when we are not awakened. It's very important to take this in. When we show up as other than who we actually are from the core of our being, it is literally allowing the destruction of truth and innocence. Can we see this? We're allowing for the destruction to happen by default. Look at the world that we're in and the way things have panned out on a larger scale. When we perpetuate destruction, it's simply because we have chosen not to awaken. We've chosen to close our eyes, to turn the other cheek, to look the other way, and be ignorant. Many of us feel that, oh, I'm not willfully being ignorant. I just don't know what I don't know. Okay, that may sound true, but it's not. The power is already inside of you in seed form. You have to water it. You have to actively remove the negativity. You can deprogram yourself if you choose to do so. Just as a garden, the gardens have the weeds that need to be pulled out that would otherwise choke that which is being cultivated. One must rid the mind of the negativity and impurity that would taint their inner essence of the divine. We must actively get rid of that which does not serve our highest good. Then we can allow the essence of the divine to sprout from within the darkest tunnels and caves of ourselves. From the depths of our souls arises our true nature. But do we recognize this? Are we willfully acknowledging this and cultivating this? No, we out looking for a bag. We are trying to make some money. This world of distraction is a battleground, is a training ground as well. We are here to be trained and to be taught how to allow our powers to be cultivated, our strengths to be strengthened, and to find the ways to acknowledge our weaknesses and allow others to be strong where we are weak. True community exhibits this type of behavior. And we're going to definitely get into that. But after having been in the depths of our inner being as a seed planted, once we are aware that we are a seed, then we will begin to push through the darkness. We'll begin to push through everything that has buried us in that space. And we begin to express movement, vibration, energy. Magnetism draws out our nature, and we have no choice but to be just as we are. To be other than who we are from our core is actually to literally allow the destruction of truth and innocence. I'll say that again. It's the destruction of the truth that is within us and the innocence that is within us. It removes the virtues and gives birth to the vices when we're not as we are or as we should be. I have an example. I remember when I was a young girl, and actually a teenager, in fact, and I would tell my mom different things I saw about people. She seemed to always have the need to go and tell them or tell someone that was close to them what I said, basically. This would start all kinds of strife because I actually was right with the things that I said. I had a cousin. He was only 1 year older than I was as we were getting out of high school, and he had traveled a little bit. So I guess I was a little older than a teenager at this point. I may have been in my 20s. So he had moved out of the state from our home area, and after a few years he returned, and he was all excited, and he had joined the church and was saying, I'm back home, and I'm like the prodigal son. God has brought me back home. And after a few months of observing my cousin, I told my mom, I was like, oh no, he's not happy here. He's going to move back to where he came from. He likes it there. I don't know what happened to bring him here, but he's going to go back. And it was just my simple observation, being an innocent young girl, and I just shared it with my mom. But she told my cousin's mom, my auntie told my cousin, and then next thing I know, my cousin's angry at me. My cousin's not talking to me anymore. I'm like, what happened? And, then my mom tells me, oh yeah, I told your auntie and she must have said something to him. And I'm like, okay, why did you have to do that? I was just talking to you at home. And then there was another situation where I had some cousins who had gotten married, or who were about to get married, actually. They were engaged to be married. And I found out that they were taking dance lessons because this young lady that was going to be marrying my other cousin, I worked with her. And she was telling me different stuff at work or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. And she also had become a member of the church. And back then, when you're raised a certain way, the pastors always preach that you don't want to be unequally yoked. So their limited belief or limited understanding of what that meant was that, oh, you got to be baptized and you got to be a member of this church or a member of this organization or believe in God or believe the way we believe. And honestly, as I'm thinking about it now, it seems so mundane and so inaccurate, because so many people have come through that organization and gotten married, myself included, who were not equally yoked, but yet members of the organization. We'll talk about that in the next episode. I'm definitely going to go dive deep into that ideal. I told my mom once again about these cousins, and I said, oh, I'm going to be so sad to see my cousin leave after he gets married. And my mom was like, what? What are you talking about? I was like, oh, that girl, she's a member of the church, but she's not going to be a part of this organization. It was something that I recognized about who she was. And I said, oh, she just became a member of this church so she could marry him. They're not going to stay here very long. And I don't even think she wants to, because she says she's going to be this, she's going to go to this college, and that college is way out of state, like so far away. So she's going to take him away from us. And so once again, and this was before the wedding even took place. So my mom goes to my aunt, my cousin's mom, once again, and she tells her what I said. And my aunt talks to the fiance of her son. And once again, I lose family members and they get angry at me. The cousin's future wife doesn't speak to me very much at work. She goes to get Nicole's shoulder. They did have 2 children. They did go ahead with the wedding. And it was so interesting that shortly after they got married, they moved to a neighboring state, but they commuted to church. They still tried to maintain their presence in church, I guess because of what I had said. And then after so long, they moved all the way out of the state, completely, like even out of that particular state, very far away where they couldn't commute at all. And they had 2 children, and today they're actually divorced. This is not to put any salt on anyone's life or any ill will. This is just showing that what is in someone will be made manifest. And I know that there are people who recognize trees by their leaves, even before the flower blooms or buds on that tree, even before the fruit shows forth to name the tree. People can look at the leaves and say, oh, this is this type of tree. This is this type of bush. And I recognized that that was me, even though I was telling my own mother in the privacy of our home, hoping she would help cultivate what I was seeing, help me understand, well, you're able to see things. Okay, so we're going to be careful with what we share, because people may not be ready, or maybe I should have been the one to share it if it was needed to be shared. I don't know. But the way it worked out was simply that it was right. I was right. And the truth came out through action, through manifestation. And it wasn't that I manifested anything, because I wasn't in those people's bodies. If they truly had a will to stay in that area, no matter what I said or no matter what anyone else would have said, they would have been there and they would have shown me who they really were and what their intentions really were, and say, oh, you're wrong. I'm still here after 25 years. As I've heard so often, it's so funny. It's just that we must recognize what we're actually made of. What's actually done in the dark will simply come into the light. It wasn't that I was telling her to go and tell people, but I was genuinely concerned and wanted to see how they could be helped or stopped from going down a particular path. I don't know. Maybe there was something in the back of my mind that I thought my mama could do that would help. It later dawned on me that nothing can stop a manifestation that has been properly watered. With that being said, I would like to share an excerpt from one of my books that you can find on Amazon.com. This book is titled, I Have to Say, Today is a Great Day. And the way this book is arranged is that you have about 30 or 31 days with just a simple line of why today is a great day. And then that's on the left side of the page. And then on the right side, there's a little excerpt or a little idea that goes along with that statement. So this particular day that I'm reading, it says, today is a great day to remove your mask and just be yourself. I want to say that again. Today is a great day to remove your mask and just be yourself. And the little excerpt says, living in today's society, we find it necessary or desirable to be something other than who we truly are. I challenge you to take the time out to know what you really want and who you truly are from the core of your being. And then go be that version of yourself for as long as you possibly can. I love you just the way you are, and so will others. And that's basically that day. This book is also a journal. In the second half of the book, there are lined pages where you can write your own daily affirmations, and your reflections are a little insight to why you're saying today's a great day for XYZ. I have some questions to close out with for our transformers. What seeds have you planted and are now watering in your life? Remember, what's done in the dark will eventually come into the light. So ask yourself the question, and I'm sure you'll answer it for yourself as well. So I admonish everyone to simply be single-minded, specific, and intentional, and you will see that you are indeed magical. What you see that others can obtain and can manifest and can do and be and have in their lives, you have the same power, the same ability, as long as you set the same intentions to do so. It's been an honor, a pleasure to share with each and every one. Thank you for listening. Please do subscribe to the channel and feel free to comment your reflections, what has sparked in your mind after listening to this podcast episode, and be tuned in for the next one that's coming. Be well, peace, love, and wholeness. This podcast is powered by Soleah Rayne International Incorporated. We are here to transform lives.